Okay, Dad, it's recording.
Uh-oh. You going to ask me a question?
Yeah, so what were you saying about Grandma's brothers and sisters? That she was the only one that passed down, the Feick family was the only one that passed RP down.
Right, right. Yeah, from the Nels Jensen family. Nels Jensen married Donna Caldwell, and they had 11 children. And I always think sometimes there was RP in that family. I think Donna apparently was a carrier of the way it turned out. But then, so they had 4 of their sons had RP, and at least my mother was a carrier. But I was thinking that my mother may be the only one that passed it on to the next generation, which is kind of amazing out of 11 kids.
Mm-hmm.
That nobody else seemed to pass it on.
Right.
And I just went through their families that their children, George Jensen, they had 3 boys and a daughter. Of course, he didn't have RP, so he would have been, that family would have been clear. You know, they wouldn't have carried because it's if you don't have RP, you can't pass it on. But it's carried through the women as recessive gene. They can be a carrier. And then John, he did have my Uncle John. He did have RP, and he had I think 4 boys and a daughter. Now his boys would have been clear, but his daughters definitely would be carriers. But fortunately, but Marge, their daughter Marge, she had 2 children. The boy was Doug Westfall, and he didn't have it, so that family is okay. And then they had a daughter. I can't remember her name right now, but she never married, so she didn't have any kids. Then there was my Uncle James. He never married. Uncle Melvin, he married a lady with 4 kids, so nothing happened there. Then Uncle Frank, he married Frank and Wanda Jensen. They had 2 children. Of course, a boy, Raymond. Of course, they'd be free. But the daughter, Carol, she lives in Florida. Carol Otto, they had two children, a son and a daughter. And apparently, it seemed like the son's fine. And the daughter, she's had some kids, which none of them seem to have RP. Then that's all the boys, I guess. Well, Uncle Roy, but he was the feeble-minded one, so he never had any kids. Then of the daughters, Lena, my mom, they had Edmund Feick. They had 3 sons. The oldest son, Floyd, he did not have RP, but both myself and Max did have RP, and sister Rosemary, she was a carrier. So that, and as far as we know, that's the only family. And then her sister Bertha married Sam Mitchell. They had 2 boys and a daughter, and apparently no RP through there. So as far as we know, she was not a carrier. Of course, with the 50-50 chance on the boys or 50-50 chance on the girls being a carrier, I guess it could crop up later, but it appears that not so. And then Aunt Ethel, she married Berlin Reckenbaugh. They had 2 sons. One of them was feeble-minded, and the other died in Fort Leonard Wood in the Army. Never had any kids, so that family didn't pass it on. And then there was Goldie. She had a bunch of boys. Forgot how many for sure. She was married. Her first husband got killed in a truck accident. There were the Dickersons. I think there were at least 4 boys and a daughter. And then she married a Sickles. They had a few more kids. But anyway, apparently none of them had RP, so you'd think she was not a carrier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Aunt Ethel, the youngest, she was married to Anderson, a Navy guy, Anderson. They had 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. The boys never had RP, and apparently the daughters never passed it on to their kids either, so maybe they were clear. So that was kind of amazing. Out of all 11 kids, only my mother passed the RP on. So that's that story.
Yeah. So your uncles, when you were little, they already had some vision trouble, or were they completely blind?
No, they had
Uncle
vision
Dave?
problems.
Yeah. They didn't really know why.
Well, that's a good question. They didn't. It's real strange. They didn't seem to know, or at least the name of it.
Right.
Even, it's kind of strange. Even I think it was Uncle James. He went out to Omaha to I think it was a Dr. Judd or something like. And I actually went out there. I don't know if Max did or not, but they never told us exactly what it was, or if they knew, and just what happened. I don't know.
Right. How old were you when you did that?
I was a teenager probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, and even I didn't really know the name of it till I was in college. I went to the library and got some medical books and looked it up and found out, hey, it looks like RP because it was the way it was carried, sex-linked recessive gene, and the night blindness and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even when after I graduated from high school, I think the superintendent sent me see if I qualified for any rehabilitation. And I went to a doctor in Des Moines. They said no, he didn't. I didn't qualify for rehab or anything. It was strange. But then when I joined the Army, they could tell I couldn't see in the dark. That's when they tested my eyes there, and that's who first I ever knew it was officially was retinitis pigmentosa.
Mm-hmm. It was the Army doctor.
Yeah.
And that was after high school? You went to that doctor in Des Moines, like your high school?
Yeah, about the time I graduated, I think.
He thought maybe you would
qualify for state rehab or something.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. They didn't test you for night vision or field of vision back in those days.
Oh, okay.
And mine, I had driver's license corrected to like 2040 or whatever. And that's how I got in the Army too, I guess. Because you don't test your night vision or your field of vision at that time.
Right. When did you know? Do you remember when you realized that you had some vision problems?
I was pretty young, I think.
Yeah.
Because Floyd, my brother Floyd, obviously we had to have glasses too. Pretty early on, which I don't quite understand that. I think my uncles, well, Frank did wear glasses, but the other, I don't think they wore glasses, which I don't know if there's a connection between nearsightedness and RP or not. I never heard about it before, you know what I mean? But both Max and I had to have glasses because of nearsightedness.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost where I was. Anyway, it wasn't until I got in the Army that I officially found out that it was RP.
Yeah. And did your family talk about it? Like, wonder what, did James come back from the doctor and tell his family about what the doctor said and stuff?
James?
Yeah, because you said James went to see the same doctor in
Omaha. Yeah, I don't, back in those days, I didn't know too much about it, but I know, seemed kind of a waste of time and the effort at the time, you know what I mean? Because they didn't do anything for you.
Right. Yeah.
Back in those days, you just had bad eyes.
Did you worry about it very much?
I don't think so, too much. Because one thing you think you'll always have the vision you got.
Yeah.
You don't think you'll lose any more of it. But I was saying about my brother Floyd, he didn't have it, so especially when we were playing ball, like softball or something, get toward the evening, or Max and I would be ready to quit. Floyd was ready to keep playing because, he'd see better in the dark.
Yeah. When do you feel like your vision started bothering you? Like like made it hard to do things?
Oh, brother, that's a good question. Well, I mean, probably the first thing would be when I started driving.
Uh-huh.
Can't drive. I did drive at night, but it's very hard to drive at night.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to drive at night. Didn't want to be out at night. I guess that'd be the first time.
Yeah.
But my vision, so long as my vision was pretty good, as long as I had good light, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like even when I was in high school or college, I'd sit in the front row,
Mm-hmm.
so I could see the blackboard. Even at college, they would, even at, like especially at these lecture halls where it was a big room,
Mm-hmm.
they would let you know, hey, if you have a vision problem, sit, maybe assigned seats. I can't remember if we did assigned seats. You could get a seat down front.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'd always sit in the front row. So that, I guess that would be the biggest thing would be night vision, seeing in the dark.
Mm-hmm. How much vision did you have when you moved to St. Louis?
Well, I still had my driver's license. I think my vision was probably corrected to 20/40
Yeah.
because I had the job with the Department of the Army. As far as I know, I didn't have any like disability. I wasn't hired as a disabled person.
Uh-huh.
Like everything else, they didn't check your vision too close.
Right.
And like I say, I can do pretty good in good light.
Mm-hmm. When did you start using your cane?
Not till after I retired from the federal government in the mid-70s. I think friend Sarah Winter, she bugged me, hey, go to the rehab services for the blind. So I went there and took the cane training. And learned Braille.
You like took classes there, or you did stuff at home?
No, they came out and to my place.
Yeah. Was it pretty easy to pick up?
Braille?
Yeah.
Yes, it's not too bad to learn, but you just got to get your fingers sensitive to feel it.
Yeah.
You feel them dots. It's not too complicated. I was surprised even when you need back in the computer days, key punch, that to make I forgot which is which though. Like, one row of those punches is like 1, 2, 3, up to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Then somehow if you have I forgot whether you had a letter or if you had the number, you would have 2 holes.
Uh-huh.
To make, it's like the A was, either the A was 2 holes or, no, I think the A was just 1 hole. But if it was a 1, it may have 2 holes.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember exactly how that worked.
Hmm.
Similar to Braille, number, A is, 1 dot is the A, but if you wanted the letter 1, the number 1, you'd put a symbol in front of it. So learning the letters of the alphabet weren't that hard, but feeling them was the worst thing.
Yeah.
And of course, learn to write Braille. You write backwards. You write from right to left. You got to make every letter backwards. If you punch it out with your slate and stylus.
Oh yeah.
So you should learn it backwards and forward.
Uh-huh. Huh. Now, how did you decide to retire the first time?
The first time?
Yeah, from the federal government.
Well, they more or less, it's one of those things, my vision got to where I couldn't really read print too well.
Okay.
So I'd actually had some help from other workers, and I could have stayed and worked. I would have had to hire a reader.
Uh-huh.
But I decided I could live on my retirement, and I didn't want to go through the hassle of keeping somebody hired to read for me.
Uh-huh.
Probably, by the time you paid them,
Uh-huh.
or you might have been able to get blind skills, and because they did have some blind people working there.
Yeah.
But I decided to retire.
How did you feel about it?
I was okay with it.
Yeah.
Retirement, I don't think bothered me.
Yeah.
Just like getting out of the army.
Right.
I didn't mind getting out of the army.
Right. Right.
I had basic training, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
I'd worked for nine years, I guess, for the Department of the Army.
Uh-huh.
And so retired.
Yeah. What is it like to be blind?
Who knows?
Probably you.
Well,
What is it like for you to be blind?
it's like somebody asked me, one of the kids at church asked me one time, something about what, I remember what, not, I don't know exactly how he worded, what do you see or whatever. It's hard to describe what you don't see.
Yeah.
I think I'd heard somebody else say it's like being in such a dense fog that you can't even see your hands in front of your eyes, no matter how close you put them.
Yeah.
And then, but it's, as far as what you see, you got different flashes of light, different things, different times, different things. Sometimes it's light, sometimes it's dark. I guess your brain is working. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I'm, especially since I did see at one time, I'm thankful for that, because I know some people that never did see, and like when you say green grass, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
But at least, I can visualize green grass and trees and blue sky and whatever, sunsets, and visualize all that.
When you dream, do you remember your dreams very much? Or you...
Not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, somebody said that person that I know that's been blind from birth, dreams and blind, he says exactly what that is, I don't know, but my dreams would be as if I could see, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, the hardest part when you try to live in the sighted world and you can't see, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to read or trying to write your own checks and you can't see, and then when you give up and say, hey, I'm not going to do that, kind of a relief.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to learn Braille. I'm not going to try to read print anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost my vision very, gradually over the years. So they say, I don't know, if you lose your sight all of a sudden, it'd be more traumatic, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's easier or not, but.
Yeah. Do you think it ever bothers like your sleep or anything that you see lights sometimes and
no
sometimes?
My sleep?
Yep.
I don't think so. I know they talk about some blind people having that 24-hour stuff or whatever.
Right.
Don't know which is day and night, but
yeah.
I don't quite understand that. I don't think so. I mean, sometimes I don't sleep well, but that's old. Well, that's old age, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for other people with RP?
Well, I don't know if I got any advice. Just, the biggest thing, we're hoping to get some research done, and so maybe they can cure the problem.
Yeah.
I see they did on the news the other day. This man, I forgot he had an eye transplant, the whole eye, which is the first time they ever did it.
Wow.
But it wasn't because he had some other accident, and it was partial facial replacement or something. And but he can't, can't see. But I don't know whether, because that's the big problem, is connecting like the optic nerve or even any nerves, get them to go back together, right?
Right.
So I don't know. But we hope something will be done.
Mm-hmm. And you used to go volunteer and go downtown to talk to other people who were blind, right?
Right. But yeah, New Life Evangelistic Center. Yeah, there was a blind girl down there. She had organized these teams to go out and visit men or women. So I went out and visited other blind men.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was good. I mean, we just go visit them, family, and read some scriptures to them and pray with them. And
yeah.
I still talk to one of the guys I used to visit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You call them sometimes?
Yeah, once a year.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you have to say about this?
I don't. Not that I know of. That should cover it.
All right. Good stopping point.